Thank you. Thank you, Tony, and thank you all for being here. We remember many people today, but I think foremost in our minds should be the life and work of Consuelo and all that she did, not just what she suffered in Chile, what she suffered since then, but also the massive contribution she made to inspire so many people in this country to express their solidarity with Chile, but it was also, of course, much more global than that. That was her vision, and the other evening there was a commemoration of her organised by the Chilean embassy. We had a beautiful poem read by her nephew, who was absolutely beautifully done. So let's remember her for the creative, warm, loving person that she was, and remember her as a great Chilean woman who did so much to ensure the memory of popular unity and the government of Allende stayed alive, but also inspired people for the future, because that is the important thing of this weekend. Thank you, Tony, and all those that have organised Sueño Existe for so long here in Machynlleth, and for all those that have contributed to it over the years. 50 years since the coup is a difficult time for all those that remember it well, and Christina and I have done a number of events, including one the other evening at a cinema in North London when we showed a lovely film about the cultural revolution that the Popular Unity government was, and it had the cultural train, a film of the cultural train going all over Chile, showing the power of music, of art, of poetry and song to inspire people, and that's why we're here this weekend. El Sueño Existe in a very real sense. The coup was vicious, it was brutal, and it was very well prepared and well planned. Indeed, some would say it was planned from 3 years before, from the very moment that it looked as though Allende was going to win the presidential election. The plotters began then, the CIA began then, the big businesses began then, the rich and the privileged began then, and strangled that government, or tried to, strangled the people of Chile, or tried to. What they couldn't cope with was the growing support for popular unity during those magical 3 years they were in government in Chile. And then the brutality came of the British-built planes strafing the Moneda Palace, and the horror show of the National Stadium, and then the bodies being dumped in the sea, the unmarked graves, the torture chambers, Villa Grimaldi, and all the other things that went on, and the lies that were told around the world, and the way in which the arms companies somehow or other managed to justify their existence by supplying arms to the Pinochet government to continue that oppression. The Thatcher government happily resumed arms supplies, and indeed the Pinochet government cooperated with Thatcher over the Falklands as well, and he was rewarded handsomely with even more arms. But eventually Pinochet did go. Eventually popular unity, in a sense, was restored into the image of the rest of the world. And eventually Pinochet was sort of put through a legal process. And that was because of the determination of the people of Chile and the sacrifices that had been made, and all those that also took part in international solidarity through El Piquete to try and draw attention to just how evil and vicious Pinochet was. And so, this weekend, let's enjoy the music. Let's remember with pride and affection all those people that did so much, all those people that inspired so much and gave desperately poor people who had been brutally oppressed by mining companies and others that hope of a world where your children go to school, where there's a health service there for you, where there's decent housing there for you, and you don't have to queue up at a food bank to get something to eat. You're able to get your own food and live a life of dignity. That's the hope that was given by popular unity, and that's a hope that is universal. And I want to conclude by saying an enormous thank you to all of the Chilean community for the fantastic contribution they've made to our society and to our movement. And from the moment they arrived in '74 onwards to this country, they not only exercised their right of solidarity with the people of Chile, but they joined in every other struggle as well. The miners' struggle, the anti-war movement, the peace movement, movement, the environmental movement, and everything else. What an example to all of us. Because the struggle is there wherever you are, wherever we are. That's why the dream truly does exist. Thank you.